Let's pivot back to the NFL. Joining us now is a man that made headlines last week. And his job is not an easy one. The brand new president of the Washington football team, 7-year NFL running back, ladies and gentlemen, Jason Wright.
Yeah!
Let's go, hey, let's go!
Yeah! Come on!
What's up, man? What's up, man? Is he muted?
I'm here for it.
Hey. Congratulations on getting that president job. That is no easy task, especially for a former player. I was pumped to see it.
Yeah, thanks, bro. It's been an eventful first week, but I'm enjoying it a lot.
What does a president do? I don't think I fully understand the title of president. So what do? You just tie together the entire building, which I've heard is completely on fire over there. Do you just tie the entire place together, Jay? Is that what
you're saying? I got a fire extinguisher sitting around. It depends. It depends team by team. Right. In this case, if Coach Rivera is all about wins and losses, I'm all about dollars and cents.
Okay.
It's the expansion of the franchise. It's how we make money. It's how we expand value. And what that means is, connecting with our fans meaningfully, having good business operations, all of that. I'm the business guy.
Okay. Congratulations, by the way. You're not only were an NFL guy, an NFL player, you also have a master's in finance and everything. You were by far ready for this job whenever it comes to the books. But whenever you get this gig, and I don't know how much you knew about what you were getting into, new team name, okay, new brand, have to build an entirely new brand. Exposés coming out about the culture of the workplace, which is being exploited. By the way, everybody on earth is hearing about it. Now, head coach, who seems like the perfect guy for the job, diagnosed with cancer. I mean, this is some unprecedented position for you to be in. What is the mindset? Like, hey, we just kind of have to take care of everything as it go, or just try to slowly, what is the mindset every day? That has to be tough to think about. It's a tall task.
I mean, a lot of this stuff I was wide-eyed about coming in, right? I do my due diligence. I don't rush headlong into things. And so the stuff around the culture, I'll still find out once the investigation is completed, if it's, where it all shakes out. But it's clear, we've got to root out any vestige of sexual harassment from the organization, and that's a non-trivial task. And while it's a big problem, because it affects people in a very deep and harmful way, the solutions are pretty simple. It's put in good processes, figure out who in the organization is not leading how you want, and move on and move the F on. It's actually quite simple to move forward. And there's a broader set of aspects of culture that will develop too, making sure people feel empowered, they feel equipped to do their work, all that stuff. The identity, the name, the brand, that's exciting to me. That's a once in a generation decision that we as a franchise, along with our fans and our sponsors and the leaders of this community, are going to make that shape this organization, this area, for a generation to come. So I'm incredibly excited about that. So I don't even see that as a big burden, but as an opportunity. And even the culture piece I see as an opportunity, frankly, because once we get it right, there's going to be a huge emotional burden lifted off of folks who have worked here for a long time, and they deserve that. You know what I mean? So I see it all as very, very positive. The thing that is new is Coach Rivera, but that man's a rock. So. He did his press conference and he basically said, look, keep it moving, people. I'm good. You should be good. And it's really inspiring. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of swirl, but I'm enjoying it because I see where we're going to be.
Man. Hey, I want to run through a wall right now. That was a hell.
Let's go.
Hey, let's go. I mean, I don't know if I'm tough enough to do that, but so every day you go in there, I would assume with the quarantine protocols, it's a lot different, but I assume that you're communicating with a lot of the employees now and trying to learn as much as you go every single day. How much are you tied into the football side at all, or are you not at all over there?
Yeah, I'm tied in insofar as it helps Coach Rivera set culture, right? So, he had me introduce myself to the guys at practice so they knew who I was, knew what role I was playing, knew what role I wasn't playing, and that's important to make clear. And then, as the team paused to reflect on race and society and have a dialogue in the locker room, like a real talk dialogue in the locker room, they invited me in to share my experiences as a player and as an individual and as a Black man on that. So I'm there to help him shape the culture however he wants me in over there, and he's doing the same for me. We had a big like we call them Ask Me Anything sessions, where we're talking to our workforce on the business side, and frankly, the whole organization about the things we're going through in culture. And Coach Rivera came over to help me lead that conversation. So we work quite closely together, especially in shaping culture. And then on tactical things like COVID and stadium operations, we got to be in sync. You know, thinking about team travel, the business side and the football side got to work closely together. So we're working close, but it is, like you said, it's a lot of listening, man. Your instincts are right. I'm doing a lot of listening and learning right now.
So whenever I was on the team when Chuck Pagano was diagnosed with leukemia, and it was a moment that was startling, it was crazy, and then it was something that really rallied us together. Right? Like it really brought our entire building together. I'm not just talking players. I'm talking marketing. I'm talking ticket sales. Everybody kind of came together because whenever you're going through something that nobody else goes through, it kind of, does it feel like that's what's happening in the building? Because the Washington football team has been dumped on by everybody. I mean, it is, and that's something that, and with the distractions now, with everything potentially happening, with more investigations and in Coach Rivera, does it feel as if the building is coming together around that? Like, hey, we're good people. We got good people in here. Let's continue to grow on that. Is that what it feels like?
Yeah, I think we're getting there. I think for sure on the football side, you know, Coach and that side of the house have had a little more time to start to build that. And so I think you see the response of the team and the folks in football operations around Coach's diagnosis and just following his, like, you know, general's commander's intent has been really inspiring to see. It's been dope, frankly. And so I see it there. I think on the business side, we're just getting started. I'd be lying if I said, hey, yeah, we're all rallying together after, you know, 1 week of new vision, new direction. No, we got a lot of skeptics. And that's good. And that is good because they should hold us, our new leadership, to a high account. Like, skepticism is not a bad thing because I feel very confident that we will deliver on the new culture. But I do think people are already seeing that it's a different approach. We're quite open. I'm very transparent. I talk to folks. I answer their questions directly. I don't dance around it. And so I think folks are seeing that this is a first fruits, a down payment, if you will, on where we're headed. But it's going to take time for us to prove over and over again that we are about what we say.
I'd say you're a bit different. You're probably the only NFL president in history to describe something as dope. I would like to let you know I appreciate and respect that. The Washington football team, you came in, I think, after that decision was made, right? The naming?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so whenever you came in, did they say, hey, we don't know if we're going to stick with Washington football team, we're planning on changing it? Was that a preconceived thing, or was it like, hey, we're open for suggestions on however you want to do this?
Yeah, no, it's open, man. It's wide open. I think, you know, where I aligned with where the marketing team was already headed with this is that it needs to be more than a logo, more than what you put on a jersey. It needs to be about identity. And it's an important moment for us to reset identity. You know, Coach is resetting it on the field. We need to reset it as an organization for the way that we face the media, the way that we talk to our fans, the way that we design the fan experience, the way we engage with leaders in the community, the way that we do charitable work. Like, this new identity and name is going to inform all of that. You know, it needs to be something really substantial that represents the DC, Maryland, Virginia area in a real way. And so I'm on board with the approach we're taking, which is engage fans substantively, a bunch. Get their input, not just in number, but in quality moments, where they feel like they really have their fingerprints on this. Same thing with sponsors. Same thing with political leaders and community leaders in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, because it needs to be a community decision. Not everybody's going to love where the name lands, right? You can only pick one name.
Yep.
But everybody needs to feel like they were part of the process, that they understand how it went, and they need to understand the logic for where we landed. And then we can build the unity that we need to be the fan base that this fan base has been for so many decades.
That's that transparency, though, right? Not just in the building, but with your fans, because I assume the fans have lost a lot of trust potentially in a franchise that they have been very loyal to. I mean, the fan base over there for a long time has been one of the most loyal. I mean, it was the biggest stadium in the NFL there for a little bit before Jerry built Jerry World, and that place was built like a coliseum straight up. I mean, and whenever it was humming back in the day, it was awesome. Let's talk about that stadium and your fans. Going into the season, some people have rolled out how many people they expect to put in the stadium, the protocols of putting in the stadium. I assume that has been a pretty tall task for you, especially where you're at. How are those decisions being made whenever it comes to stadium on how many people are allowed in and what that's going to look like?
Yeah, so the league has given really good guidelines on health and safety procedures. So there's there's only a maximum level of what you can do that follows health protocols, and that comes from the league. I was skeptical coming in. It's incredibly coordinated. The information flows well. I'm really happy about it, right? And then at the team level, you have a decision you can make on, do you want to push towards that max, which is, somewhere around 20 to 30% capacity in the stadiums, or do you want to do something less based on what you're trying to do with your workforce, what you're trying to do in your community, what your community leaders are thinking and saying. And when we took in all that data, we said, hey, for us, we think it's the best bet to do no fans. It's the best bet to do no fans. What we've seen in other leagues, especially both domestically and internationally, the density of a place like DC, for us, the risk was not worth it at this time. And so we're going no fans for now. But it doesn't mean we don't engage fans. It actually ups the bar on how we engage fans over this time period. And I just finished a long meeting before this, that we were focusing on what are the ways that we can really innovate the fan experience during this time. Look, we don't have fans in the stadium, so what can we create using, augmented reality and displays that people can use in their homes to overlay? That's like you hold up your phone or something and you've got, a scoreboard over the TV that makes it feel like you're in the stadium in some way. How do you get the images of fans into the stadium in different ways? Like, we're thinking about all of these things that build that connection in a new way to help with this year, but also become things that we do going forward if it really engages folks and they really like it. So we're looking at it as an opportunity to innovate while we have the empty stadium.
Should I call you Mr. Wright, Jason, Jay? What should I call you?
Jay or Jason is perfect.
Okay, Jay. How are you? Maybe you guys have, this is just spitballing here. Maybe you guys have somebody from the Washington football team organization go to every season ticket holder's house and dump beer on their back. You know what I mean? Like big play happens, like,
Gatorade.
Gatorade, do whatever you got to do. Maybe that's just a way to make him a little bit more realistic.
I like it.
What do you got, Diggs?
Jason, as a first-time president who is or has to build a new culture, have you or will you reached out to other presidents of organizations that are respected in the league to maybe get some advice on how their teams are run, or is it just a completely different situation with you guys? And then, since you are on the finance side, will you be dealing with player contracts at all or negotiations?
No.
I'll answer the second one first. That's an easy and hard no. I will not be involved with with player negotiations and contracts. On the first one, what I love about the league is people are super collaborative. So other presidents have reached out. I got to get through my freaking text messages because my phone blew up over the last couple weeks. But as I'm getting through, that's actually one of my main priorities, is getting on the phone with other presidents. So many of them have walked through different things that I'm getting ready to walk through. Kevin DeMoff reached out from the LA Rams, and they've walked through the stadium process that I'm going to undergo over the coming years. So there are multiple folks that are eager to lean in and help, and I've deeply appreciated it, as well as the league office itself. Connecting with folks up there, understanding what other teams do. It's a very open and sharing culture, and it's going to help us get to where we need to get to more quickly.
What did you do before this? What was your gig before this?
Yeah, so when I retired, I went to business school, and I was a management consultant for a big professional service firm. I was a partner at a firm. And basically what I did is I'd take teams, I'd have multiple teams at any given time around the world, helping a business solve some complex problem that they couldn't solve on their own. And usually when you pay money to have external help come in, it was a situation where they were either in financial crisis, reputational crisis, they had some sort of people issue, not dissimilar to the one that we have going on with our independent investigation. Or it could be like a new product launch or something like that. Some big, hairy problem that they ask for help in. And I've been helping companies solve those problems for the last 7 years.
So you're literally the perfect human for this job.
I mean, you said it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm by no means am I the perfect person for it. Am I qualified? Yes, but I'm learning a lot already. And I'm grateful for the expertise that's grown up more in the league to help me, shape my thinking as well.
What do you think being a player is going to help you in this entire thing? For 7 years, not normal, by the way, player who goes 7 years in a league, not, by the way, congratulations, not normal. That is not an easy thing to do. Then become masters, then become a third-party independent thing that saves companies around the world. You're welcome. Then now you're president of a football team. I mean, there's not a lot of players that have ever done that. What do you think Do you think football has obviously helped you be able to mentally take on all these things?
Yeah, I'll talk about what football did for me heading into business in general, and then what I think it's doing now. Going into business in general, I think there's a lot of smart people in business, but you know this about football, is that you learn a level of resilience and ability to focus under pressure in high stakes sports that I think is pretty unparalleled. I used to tell people, I learned how to fail in my first few years of the NFL. I was getting cut every other day, on and off of practice squads, running out of money. I lived with my aunt and uncle in Atlanta when I was with the Falcons because I couldn't afford anything. My rent was like running my aunt's lotto numbers, to the corner store, and then I drove an hour and a half to the practice facility because they lived pretty far away in Atlanta. I learned how to fail, I learned how to grind, and I learned how to recreate my confidence when somebody told me I wasn't good enough.
Oh, okay.
And I think in business, a lot of folks don't get that experience. You're a straight A student, you've always succeeded. Then the first time someone tells you that your spreadsheet sucks, it tanks your confidence. And for me, I've fumbled in front of 80,000 people and been booed and been in sports centers, not top 10. So I'm good. You yell at me, you yell at me in the boardroom. Okay, I'm over that. Let's move it. Let's keep it moving. And so I think it really helped me have a measure of resilience in business that allowed me to be a good counselor to CEOs because I could shoot it straight with them. I was unaffected by, the emotional moments of folks. And that sports helped me a lot there in sort of my leadership capacity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I think now it helps me to bridge the business and football sides of the organization. There's a lot of things that the business side we need the players and coaches and football staff to do to help us expand the value of the franchise. But at the same time, I know that Wednesday morning through Monday afternoon, you need to be on the grind to perform on the field. And so it's on me to shape our business operations in a way that don't draw on those guys and gals during that time period.
Smart.
Yeah. And so that's an important thing and an important lens that I bring, to the table right away. And then as I think about things like game day operations and stadium operations and things like that, having the lens of a former player, I think helps too. And then I think ultimately it should help the culture of the franchise to feel like one culture, because especially as the guys get into the off season, so it's not divided, right?
Yeah,
so especially as the guys get into the off season, I'm happy to help play whatever role I can to help those guys think about their future, the transition out of football, which, as we all know, is not easy. Mine looks good right now, but it sucked along the way. You talk about my wife, my first 2 years, she'd be like, oh yeah, this man was a mess. So to help folks think through that and help contribute to the culture on the team that Coach Revere is trying to build, I'm happy to do that too. And there's probably other things I'll find out, but that's what I see now.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I am very, very impressed with this conversation. I'm very thankful that a former player has gotten into the role that you've gotten into. You're blazing trails for a lot of people, and we're very thankful. Can't wait to see you succeed. You got a hell of a fucking climb to get over, but I am pumped to watch you do it. It's an opportunity, Jay. It's an opportunity.
It is an opportunity, bro. It is.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Keep it moving. New president, Washington football team, Jason Wright. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Hey, he's awesome.
Polished.
Yeah.
Hey, he came from a firm that used to deal with PR crises and rebranding things and doing everything. It's like, could there be a more perfect human to get in there? And by the way, former player is a big deal because whenever he was talking about bringing the entire building together, there's two very distinct things in an NFL building. It's the football side, and then there's the business side. And the business side isn't always on the same page as the football side, and you can see it through a lot of different things if you look closely enough. Whether it's the social media, the way the social media is handled, whether the day-to-day operations, you can kind of tell. When a building is all together, though, it is obviously just like a football team when everybody's together, just a much better thing for everybody. But he's got some tall tasks. I mean, there is some tall things, but the way he spun everything into an opportunity, it's like, oh, this guy is like President 101 right here. Like, this guy is the guy. Like, it's not an obstacle, it's an opportunity. It's like, I've seen a lot of people on Instagram say that, but boy, when you actually have to do it, that is a much different ballgame than just pandering on the internet. Shout out to my Twitter account, by the way.
Yeah, and it seems like he has largely removed his ego from the equation too. Like, he fully understands like how difficult this is going to be and that there's going to be like a lot of bumps and bruises, but it doesn't seem like he's in it for himself, to like build his own reputation.
It's so interesting to hear him talk about how I've fumbled in front of 80,000. I've been on SportsCenter Not 10. It's like whenever you get humbled at that level, it's kind of hard to take anything too serious, after that. It's like, okay, yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, I peed my pants, whatever. Just keep it moving, bro.
He said it perfectly. Like the people that didn't do sports as they were growing up, like, and I worked with them in the office and stuff like that. Like, the boss would yell at them and they would just absolutely crumble and go cry in the hallway. But like when you have been called every single name under the sun by a coach, like that doesn't affect you at all.
While tobacco's getting spit.
Yeah.
You sack of. All right, yeah. I tried, man. I didn't mean to miss. Like, I tried to put it through. Hey, well, you got to try harder, mother. It's like, okay, all right. So it can't be anything harder than this. By the way, it gets to a point, though, where you get sick of people yelling at you like that. Ain't that right up in Boston?
No, you don't really get sick of
right.
it.
Sounds like it.
Pressure makes diamonds. Super Bowl diamonds. You get those as well. Yeah, I mean, that's just what happens. Not Super Bowls.